with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Now Jesus entered a village where a woman whose name was Martha welcomed him, and she had a sister named Mary who sat beside the Lord at his feet, listening to him speak. Martha, burdened with so much serving, came to Jesus and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me all by myself to do all the work and the serving? Tell her to help me." The Lord said to her in reply, "O Martha, Martha, you are anxious and you are worried about many things. There is in need only one thing, and Mary has chosen the better part, and she shall not be denied." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise the Lord Jesus Christ.
This is the ultimate sibling rivalry. And I'm sure that you know that the job of a sibling is to drive your sister or your brother nuts. Yeah. Now, the number one thing that you hear in confession when you are a little kid, and I don't think I'm revealing any secrets here, is, "I fought with my brothers and sisters." That starts when you're about 5, and it's still going on when you're about 50. In fact, it may even be going on a little bit longer than that. But they are absolutely imperative for us. Because if you can learn to deal with your sister or your brother, you can learn to deal with the world. If you can negotiate with them, you can negotiate with anybody. If you can survive them, you can survive anybody. So they're absolutely critical to our life. And today we've got 2 sisters who are at odds with each other. Now, I must confess, the first time I heard this gospel, it drove me nuts. Because I'm a Mary, or I take that back, I'm a Martha. My brother Joe is the Mary. My brother Joe was the laziest thing that ever walked the face of the earth. I worked my pants off. I can remember we'd be drying the dishes, and I'd be drying the dishes, and Joe would be sweeping the floor, and he'd be doing it sitting down and moving the chair every time he mopped a little more. And I'd go, "Ma, tell Joe to do some work." Joe is a real Mary. And as we will hear, and as we know, Mary gets the better part. But first, Martha. Marthas of the world unite. Right? We should love the Marthas. I love them. You know what? I am a Martha. By the way, she's coming into this house, or Jesus is coming into this house. It's Martha's house. And my hunch is if she's a real Martha, it's already paid for. Huh? It's as clean as it can be. She's got everything in order. Marthas get things done. If I've got to choose, the one thing that Marthas are neurotic. And if I got to choose between someone who's a little neurotic to get the job done, give me the crazies. Because the job is going to get done. You give a job to a Martha, it's going to get done. If you get your bills, and on the day you get them, you pay them, and then you worry about them getting lost in the mail as you send them out, you might be a Martha. Right? If you go to work early, a half an hour early, and you leave a half an hour late, and you look at everybody else meandering in when they want to, you might be a Martha. If you believe in the 20-80 rule, which says that 20% of the population does 80% of the work, and you're part of the 5% of the 20, you might be a Martha. Marthas get things done. As a matter of fact, I owe my vocation to Martha. When I was a young boy, when I was their age, I made a St. Martha novena well, not this church, actually 2 churches before, at St. Michael's. I would come every Tuesday. I was a junior in high school, just as they are, and I would say, "Okay, Lord, if you want me to be a priest, I want to know." And I prayed to St. Martha. I said, "Get the job done." Voila. Martha is amazing. And Martha's got her own feast day. Mary doesn't. All right? And that's Martha. And then there's Mary. Mary, not contrary. Mary takes everything in. For Mary, everything is okay. Mary is beyond laid back. She's one step above comatose. Mary is just... For Mary, there is no past. For Mary, there is no future. For Mary, there is only now. This moment. This moment is as holy and as sacred as it can be. Mary can live now. She's not worried about the things that are going to happen, and she's not regretting all the things in the past, and she's not all nervous. She has this ability to be present and enjoy, truly enjoy what's going on at this moment. I had a young man named Louis Holm who was a Mary who lived in my household when I was a priest at Hopkins Park. And Louis would drive me crazy because he would eat a banana in a contemplative way. He'd look at the banana, he'd smell the banana, he'd peel the banana, he'd look at the banana, I'd go, "Would you eat that thing?" And then when he ate it, it was the most wonderful, delicious thing he'd ever eaten in his entire life. That's the Mary. That's the contemplative mode. Now, Mary and Martha are twins. My brother and I are kind of twins. We're Italian twins. We're 13 months apart, okay? Mary and Martha are... We don't know if they were twins or not, but they really are, in many ways, the same person. They're two sides of the same coin. There's the Mary part in all of us, and then there's the Martha part in all of us. And in all of us, Martha, there's a Mary always wanting to be born. And of course, in the Marys, there should be some Martha there too to get something done. So they balance each other. They need each other, but there is one part that really is superior to the other. And it's really hard for the Marthas to see that. The Martha represents the outer world. She is concerned, or he is concerned about how he's looking. It's the egoic world. It's the world in which my reputation is important, how I'm looking is important, how much I'm achieving is important, how much I got in the bank is important. You know, Merton called it the false self. The false self is who we think we are, how we define ourselves in the outer world. It's the part of us that's going to die when we die. And then there's the Mary part. And that's not the egoic part, that's the contemplative part. The contemplative is able to take everything in. The good, the bad, the redeemed, the sinful, and hold it. The contemplative is the one who's able to see reality as it is and accept it. This is called what Merton called the true self. The true self is who you were before you got all of these quirks, all of these neuroses, all these outside things. The true self is who you are in God. You've got nothing to prove. The true self is never going to die. Because the true self is based in divinity, is based in God. That's the Mary self. That's the Mary part of each and every one of us. And it really is critical. Now, how do we come into our Mary? Well, the Mary comes when the Martha collapses. When the Martha is so exhausted that she can't do anything more. She may whine and she may moan and she may groan, but at a certain point she goes, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. And so when that collapses, what does she fall into? Mercy. Into the mercy of God. When I can't fix it, when I can't explain it, when I can't correct it, when I can't make it perfect, there's nothing left to do. Sit at his feet. I know that because in my own life, it was my Mary, my brother Joe, who changed my own life. I was a young priest. I was about 32 years old. I was working as hard as I possibly can. I was doing all my Martha stuff. And I was being very, very successful, but nothing meant anything. Everything was empty. God was very distant. I can remember going into the chapel. I was teaching at the seminary at the time, and I'd look at the up at the crucifix, and I'd go, if you're real, I want to know. because you're so far away from me. And the harder I work, the behinder I get, no matter what I do. It's not paying any dividends. It used to when I was young, but now it's just empty action. And I really feel cheated, and I'm really hurt. And then one day my brother sat me down, and he said, Tony, and you know, it's amazing. God does use our siblings. God does use the ones who are closest to us because they're the ones who know what our vulnerable spots are. They're the ones who know how to push our buttons. Well, he was about to not just push a button. He was about to play a Bach fugue on me. Because he sat me down and he says, you know, I've never seen anybody work harder than you do. You say, I will dance for you, I will work for you, I will teach for you, I will do whatever you want me to do, but love me, love me, love me. He says, are you crazy? He said, when did God retire and you took over? Marthas, are you listening? When did God retire and you took over? You can't earn God's love. God's love is. You are as loved as you possibly perfectly could. You don't have to work to prove that you are somebody special and then resent everybody else who isn't doing it the way you're doing it. And it was like scales fell from my eyes, and all of a sudden I fell into the mercy. I was free for the time being, because I'm going to be a Martha all the days of my life. But there is a Mary in each and every one of us, always waiting to be born. How is she born? How do we come to that Mary? By letting it go. Let go and let God. Falling into the arms of God's divine mercy. Oh, Martha, 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 you are anxious about many things, but only one thing counts. And Mary has chosen the better part.